Folks, welcome back. I think I've mentioned it on the program before, but I'm friends with Dinesh D'Souza, and Dinesh has involved me in a project. I don't exactly have a big part, but it's exciting. It's a new film called The Dragon's Prophecy, and we have Dinesh on right now to talk about it. Dinesh, welcome back.
Eric, it's a pleasure. Great to join you. And yes, we're thrilled to have you in this film. And you don't have a small part. You have a significant and important part in the structure of the storyline.
And you should be clear with the audience because they won't believe this, but I did all my stunts in this, folks. So you're going to say, "There's no way." Yes, way. I did all the stunts. When you see the film, that is me. That is me. That's not a stunt double. Most people would assume it's a stunt double, but it's actually me. Okay, Dinesh. The film is called The Dragon's Prophecy. Um, First question is, what is the film?
It's based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller of that title. Cahn draws on an image in the book of Revelation where the dragon, representing the devil, goes to war against a woman representing Israel, and the woman is in fact pregnant, representing, of course, the Messiah. But what Khan does is he says that the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians now is a replay. He calls it a resurrection of an ancient conflict between the Israelites and the Philistines as described in the Bible. Now, there's a very subtle connection between the Philistines and the Palestinians. The name is, in fact, identical. It's the same name. And Khan's point is not so much that these are genetically the same people. His point is that the tactics that were used in October 7th have an eerie resemblance to the tactics used by the Philistines. When Samson, for example, was captured by the Philistines, Samson, of course, representing the power and the strength of Israel, he's blinded in the way Israel was blinded in October 7th. He's dragged where? To Gaza. And what happens there? They strip him. They make him a public spectacle. They dance around him. They celebrate his captivity. So, in a way, what Khan says is, hey, who's the first hostage of Gaza? Answer, it's Samson in the Bible. So, all of this, I think, is just a very fresh, interesting, and provocative way to interpret what's going on now, but through the light of biblical events. And of course, we add in, and this is where you come in, biblical archeology, a hint of biblical prophecy. So this is a beautiful blending of history and the Bible and also politics.
I mean, it's extraordinary. Jonathan has just this outrageous gift, Jonathan Cahn, because it's all there, but he seems to see it. Nobody else sees it. And then he writes about it. And then you read it and you go, you know what? He got it right. How crazy. I mean, it really is. It's extraordinary. And of course, we have to be clear. It's the Lord. The Lord created Jonathan Cahn and clearly wants this message to get out right now. When you mentioned Samson, the other thing that's so horrible is they blinded him. I mean, when you really think about the sick cruelty of Hamas, the sick cruelty of people through history, it's hard for us sometimes in the West to imagine this evil, this cruelty, and it needs to be underscored that this is real. This is what Hamas did. They did things that are difficult even to talk about, really.
I did an in-depth, of course, with Khan for the movie, but then we took our little film team and off we went just as a few weeks ago to spend 9 days in Israel. And people go, Dinesh, you're not going to Israel. There's a war over there, man. And I'm like, well, yeah, we are. And they're like, you're not going to go to Gaza, are you? And I'm like, of course not. Sure enough, we go to Gaza. We go to the site of the Nova Festival. This film opens with about 10 minutes of unremitting, and it's a little bit, it has a little bit of a graphic warning. It shows October 7th, and it puts you at the scene. The Israeli government, I think, made a tactical blunder early on where they decided we're not going to show the footage. We're going to bring in some journalists from the BBC and Sky News and CNN and show it to them because their eyes will be opened. No, these are propagandists. They had no interest in any of that. We have all that footage. We have threaded it together into a riveting account. So when I'm talking to people, survivors of October 7th, I'm able to show you what happened to them and their families on October 7th in the background.
What do you make of this strange situation we find ourselves in, where people seem to be more upset about Israel attacking Gaza than they do about what Hamas did? I mean, I did find it fascinating on some level.
It's very peculiar. Now, in fairness, I think that there should have been a much bigger public awareness of the details of October 7th than there is. It's almost like if you were to see the American bombing of Dresden or even the American bombings of Japan without knowing anything about Pearl Harbor, or with just knowing about it in the abstract but not actually seeing it, you can get your perspective dislocated. And so part of this, what this film does is it sort of sets you right back into perspective, where it says, listen, if somebody were to do a home invasion on you, and they were to, rape your wife, kill your kids, and then they run away and you grab your gun and you go after them. And then what they do is they go to their car, they grab their own wife and kids and stick them in front of themselves and go, don't shoot, we got civilians here. I mean, this is the macabre comedy of the situation, where it is Hamas that is endangering its own citizens
Right,
for its own
right.
political
And
benefit.
listen, folks, we have to be clear. It's diabolical. There's no other way around it. It is utterly diabolical. It's satanic. We're talking about a new film, The Dragon's Prophecy, with Dinesh D'Souza. We'll be right back. Welcome back. My guest is Dinesh D'Souza. We are talking about a brand new film called The Dragon's Prophecy, based on the book by our friend Jonathan Cahn. And Dinesh, before we forget, where can people find the film?
The film is out right around October 7th, so it's in theaters October 6th and October 8th, the 2 days around October 7th. It's also going to be streaming and on DVD the next day, October 9th. And all tickets at the website, thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. Thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. You can order streaming and DVD now. Look, this is a film kind of made for the second anniversary of October 7th. But it has an enlarged perspective that shows us what America's role is here and also what our role is. Because one of the points that Khan makes, very profound, I think, is that look, if battles are going back to the beginning, if the Jews of today need to be tough and put on armor like the ancient Israelites did, then guess what? We who are the sort of spiritual Jews, we who are the spiritual Israelites, we the Christians, we need to go back to the way Christians were in the book of Acts. We need to have a kind of new fervor, a new dynamism to our faith, and a recognition of the spiritual stakes involved. That's what this film, it tries to help that process and help that kind of enlightenment.
And what was it that led you, Dinesh D'Souza, to say, I want to make a film about this? Because I know you, I know Jonathan Cahn, but when I heard that you were making a film of his book, I thought, wow, what a great idea. What was your process in that?
Eric, I went to Israel for the first time with my wife Debbie in December of 2022. I was exposed to biblical archaeology for the first time. In fact, right about that time, I read your book, Is Atheism Dead? I was blown away at this idea that as the world becomes more secular, and you and I talk about this in the film, God is speaking back, is whispering, if you will, through the tablets and the artifacts and the stones and the seals. So I knew about all that. And then comes October 7th, and I go, you know what? This is a very interesting topic, but I didn't realize it initially that the topic of biblical archaeology and October 7th were connected in that they go back to the fundamental question of whose land is it? So I had the past, the archaeology, the present, October 7th, and then I encountered Jonathan Cahn, who comes on my podcast and talks about prophecy. And I'm like, whoa, we have the past, we have the present, we have the future. I think I can weave this together in a very interesting tapestry. And I'm very proud to say I think this film delivers that in a big way.
What do you make, Dinesh, of voices on the right? Like, I guess Tucker Carlson is a classic example. That I've been on his show, and I admire him, but he seems to see things differently. I guess I always want to get stuff right. You don't just want to be an apologist for Israel no matter what. But it really seems like there's this strange narrative out there, that there are people that just a few years ago I would have agreed with them on everything, but they have some view that 1948 is meaningless. Israel becoming a country, the Jews coming together after thousands of years away, that's meaningless. Who cares? It doesn't, it's a strange thing to me because I mean, I'm interested in what's true, but I find it hard to believe that that idea makes any sense, that it's a meaningless thing, that Israel has been reconstituted.
Tucker has some real moral blind spots. This is one of them. I've known Tucker Carlson 30 years. He worked for me in his early career. The two of us were on a speaking tour together in Australia just last year. We got along just fine. But Tucker does not know or understand the Bible at all. Recently, I just saw him in one of his interviews, and he said this phrase, "What is Judea and Samaria?" And he wasn't asking sort of rhetorically, he didn't know.
Right.
So you have a guy like Tucker who thinks somehow that there is a disconnect between the Jews in Israel today and the ancient Israelites. The big question he posed to Ted Cruz was, are you really saying that the Jews of today are descended from the ancient Israelites? And the answer is, duh, yes, because it's not like the Jews were scattered in a diaspora and some other sneaky non-Jews came and, impersonated the actual Jews and came to Israel and said, here we are. And the real Jews got lost somewhere in Ukraine or Lithuania. I mean,
Right.
this is like madness, but it's being put out there with a straight face. Lots of people are falling for it, as well as the canard that a country of 10 million people with a tiny GDP relative to ours, no kind of weaponry comparable to ours, is somehow controlling us, almost as if
Yeah.
someone were to make a claim that the mosquito is controlling the elephant. I mean,
Now,
it's.
I have to ask you, for some reason on my Instagram feed, I have no idea why, but a couple of days ago, all of this Nick Fuentes stuff kept coming up. And I thought this is a diabolical figure. His hatred for the Jews, it actually frightened me. His racism, it was and I realized you debated him recently. What can you say?
Well, Nick Fuentes has a kind of cult following, and it's on the right. And he was going out there basically saying Charlie Kirk is a wimp. He won't debate me. Shapiro, the Jew, won't debate me. So I was like, you know what? I'll debate him. And I realized that Nick Fuentes, basically, to him, history begins around like 2001, because his big point is like regime change is bad. Look at what happened in Iraq. And I was like, well, yeah, but there was regime change in Germany, in Japan. I can give you 40 examples of regime change that turned out beautifully. So I just went through this, and you could just see his sort of startled face. I think we're dealing here with a generational gap of knowledge and understanding. Fuentes and Tucker have something in common, is that they both like to take the thing that nobody likes to say and say it really loudly. And part
Yeah.
of their idea of going after Israel is based on this kind of, I think, juvenile iconoclasm.
Juvenile iconoclasm. I think that's correct. I think that's correct. And I want to be really clear. I like Tucker. I can disagree with Tucker on some stuff, but I really like him. Nick Fuentes, honestly, what I see, I find frightening. The fact that he has a cult following among people who are too ignorant to understand what he's pushing, because it is a really, you can feel the spiritual darkness of his hatred for the Jews. And he loves to take things in a really racist direction. And it's kind of funny because, people like you and me, we're accused sometimes of being racist, whatever, and we are absolutely not that. But because of figures like him who really is racist, people on the right kind of get lumped in with that. It's a frightening thing. We've got a final segment coming up with Dinesh. The film is The Dragon's Prophecy. Folks, this is important. It's going to come out October 6th, 7th, 8th. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right back with Dinesh D'Souza. Welcome back. Final segment with Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh, you were in Israel recently, and you spoke directly with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes one-on-one with him, and there's about 5 minutes of him in the film. I'm saving the rest just to do on my podcast later. But I wanted to, Netanyahu is so much under siege worldwide that when I've seen him in interviews, he's very kind of clipped. He's very stiff. He knows what he has to say, and he speaks in a very measured way. So I wanted to throw him off his stride to bring out the real Netanyahu, which is like the real Trump. It's actually better than the canned Netanyahu. And so I unloaded some questions on him like, what do you think of Jesus? So right away you can see his face, he has to comment on Jesus, and he has very interesting things to say. And you have a very animated Netanyahu who is a friendly sparring partner for me. And I think this Netanyahu is someone that people will really like because he's been demonized, as you know, on the world stage. I think he's a hero, but very often the Netanyahu that people need to see is not the Netanyahu that they do see. So I try to bring a little snapshot of Netanyahu in the film where people go, wow, that guy is a real character. And guess what? We are America first. He's Israel first, and he has every right to be.
Well, of course he does. So you got Dinesh D'Souza gets Benjamin Netanyahu to let his hair down. And you did it without vodka. You just did it by throwing some questions. I love that. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now you invited me to be in the film to talk about biblical archaeology, and it is fascinating. Obviously, you read my book, Is Atheism Dead? But when I discovered myself the evidence for the Bible from archaeology, it becomes open and shut. It's not like, well, there's some evidence. It is more and more and more coming out. And it really does feel like God's hand. It's like the Lord is saying, okay, now I want to bring this information out about science pointing to God, about archaeology pointing to the Bible as history. We're living in historic times. And you do bring that out in the film, that this is not just, kind of more of what we've grown up with. Something has changed.
Yeah, here's your role in the film. We have Jonathan Cahn giving this kind of spirited biblical analysis, but our audience is not exclusively Christian. And so I have to step back and say, all right, but there are people who are going to say, well, how can we trust the Bible? It's maybe like Greek mythology, like King Arthur, or maybe this stuff is all made up. So when you talk about Pontius Pilate, when you talk about the childhood home of Jesus, we went to all those places. And so we're showing the audience straight up, guess what? Here's Pontius Pilate. This is the first historical reference to Pontius Pilate outside the Bible, and it's indisputable, and here it is. And so what we're doing with your section in the film is validating the historicity of the Bible as a kind of a tool or template of analysis. And so it legitimizes where Jonathan Cahn is going. It fits beautifully together. You're going to love this film, Eric. Once again, if I can say, thedragonsprophecyfilm.com, that's the website. You can order streaming now. You can get your DVDs now, and it's in theaters. Tickets will be up in a week or so. You can get your tickets for the theater on October 6th and on October 8th.
And dare I say, it's an important film. That's the point, folks. There's a lot of films. This is important. It's important that we understand this. And it is important that we understand that the Bible is historical. And I can understand people who don't get that because they haven't been confronted with the more recent evidence. More and more and more evidence has come out. Obviously, I write about it in my book, and Dinesh talks to me about it in the film. It is a startling thing that we're alive at a time where we can see this. And so we can present this evidence to people who aren't on the same page. And it's actually important we do, and it's important for ourselves that we know this is not something we believe. It's just true. So the film, The Dragon's Prophecy, you can find it at thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. Dinesh D'Souza, thank you so much.
Eric, always a pleasure.